Hey friends, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we will talk about when and why leaders panic. I'd like to know your thoughts and answers in the comment below. And before we begin, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to slowly grow your problem-solving mindset. Now, let's get down to business. I've broken this question of when and why do leaders panic into three separate factors. And today, we will specifically focus on the second part, or factor number 2, its root causes, and 2 tips to fix these root causes. And so, factor number 2 on why and when do leaders panic is because of consequences of events like corporate distress. See, corporate distress happens when companies have to adopt big changes because of financial or other forms of hardship going on inside the company or in the economy itself. And because of this, big decisions need to be made by the leadership team, and this may have ripple effects or a domino effect inside that can cause stress among leaders. And to understand this better, let's dive into the first root cause of why corporate distress can cause leaders to panic, which is because of the fact that many corporate decisions that may seem as aggressive may make certain leaders or even employees uncomfortable. Let's just say that to stay afloat, the company has decided to raise targets such as higher sales quotas, which causes leaders and employees to get more stressed, right? Leaders may feel being pushed to the limit and fear upsetting their customers because of the impact of aggressive corporate tactics. And since they don't have much control over the situation, the only option they have is to meet these high targets. But to fix this root cause, the first tip that I'll share today is that certain decisions are beyond your control, right? And stressing over what is beyond your control can only increase the pressure that you feel. So think about, what do you have in your control? Can you meet these targets? And if not, are there ways for you to communicate this to the leadership team? Because if you are handling unrealistic targets and you say nothing despite knowing that you won't be able to meet those expectations, then you are destined to fail. So think about what you have in your control and raise your hand when you need to. Now let's look at the second root cause of why leaders can panic because of corporate distress, which is because of the fact that when major decisions are made in the boardroom, leaders are the first ones to know before any news gets shared with the broader audience or organization, right? And leaders who are responsible to communicate these rather unpopular news with their teams feel kind of sandwiched to do what is necessary, even if they don't like the decisions themselves, right? And my second tip to fix this root cause is that sometimes leaders need to do what they have to do, but leaders must always do the right thing first instead of just doing what they have to do. So let's say if you have to fire an employee, you have to think about how you can avoid that situation from occurring in the first place, right? Can you start coaching and guiding your employee better starting today so that they do not fall out of grace and underperform tomorrow, right? If that situation can be avoided by taking a proactive approach, then start that process of setting your employees up for success today instead of waiting until tomorrow. But let's say the company needs to cut costs and performance isn't a factor. You have to, kind of let go of some of your best employees. You have to be transparent and be honest with everyone involved without pointing fingers or leaving a bad taste, right? And these are the pieces that make up the second factor. Now, in part 3 of this series, we will discuss the final factor, its root causes, and 2 additional tips. But before we move forward, I have one question for you. What would you do to fix the root causes we just talked about? I want you to think about it and give it some thought and leave a comment below. Now, consider subscribing to the channel to keep formulating your approach about more problem-solving topics, and I will see you in the next exercise.